Tonight, I shall play Russian roulette, live in this barn behind me. One gun, one bullet, and every intention of being alive at the end of the show. As ever, no actors or stooges are used in making this program. This evening, I will play Russian roulette live with one person chosen from the 12,000 who applied to load the gun. Tonight, you'll see how I selected that one individual, and I'll demonstrate some of the tricks and techniques that I will use to survive tonight's performance. Before we begin, I should point out that this evening's event takes place in a controlled environment with the full cooperation and supervision of firearms experts. Russian roulette should not, under any circumstances, be copied. It is extremely dangerous. If I'm not 100% certain that I can pull it off, I won't pull the trigger. I am sat here surrounded by videotapes from people that love the show and wanted to apply for Russian roulette. There are 500 of them. Place is a mess, and I'm sat going through them. I'm looking for someone to play with. It all started with a trailer we put out. This was asking for people to go to a website and fill in a form and apply if they wanted to take part in the Russian roulette. Your task will be to load a single bullet into a revolver. My task will be not to die. 12,000 people responded to that. We got back in touch with about 1,500 of them and asked them to send in tapes. I am now sat with the result of that process, 500 tapes.
Everyone's heard of Russian roulette, but nobody ever plays it, do they?
I think for me it's very much an involvement in a new experience.
It's making history, it's saying this happened here now and I want to witness that place and time.
Derren Brown is the master and I'd love to see him in action.
Out of these 500 tapes, I need to find 100 people to invite to London. Those 100 people will come, meet me, I get to meet them, and they will undergo a series of tests as a group to whittle them down from the 100 down to 5 people. Those 5 people will then come with me to our secret location where the game will be played, and just before the game's played, they'll whittle down to one person. There's one person out of the 12,000 people that applied, out of the several million people that watched that advert. I can try and describe these processes to you, but in the end it is just an instinct because all these things become unconscious. There are things in the way they dress, or the way they look, the way they make eye contact or don't, or even the way they talk, or they remind you of somebody which you bring all that baggage to it. In the end, I just see them and I feel them and I know that's the right sort of person or it's the wrong sort of person. It's the only way I can describe it. There are 6 chambers and 1 bullet in the game of Russian roulette. One of the first tricks I learned was to tell under which of 6 numbered cups someone had placed an object by having them look at each cup in turn or count from 1 to 6. The Russian roulette game is simply an expansion of the same game. You take your bracelet off for a second? Yeah. Sure. Okay, thank you very much indeed. 2 cups.
Yeah.
I'll look the other way. You take your bracelet, you put the bracelet under one of the cups.
Yeah.
All right? And you feel free to move them around a bit so I can't, tell which one it's gone under, but I'll look the other way. Go.
It's not looking over here, mate. Looking at the floor.
Done?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Let me tell you why I'm hoping you just put that under number 1, all right? Because what people tend to do, even numbers are kind of warm and comfortable. People tend to go for even numbers. I'm hoping you're going to try and catch me out and put it under number 1. That's what I hope. Okay. No, that's great. It's terrific. It means this is easier for me because you're going to try and catch me out, which actually in a way makes you more predictable.
Yep.
So it also means I will try and do this without, all right, I'm not even going to try and influence you or use any language tricks to manipulate you or anything. It's absolutely fair, all right? We'll do it with 4 cups.
All right.
Put it under any one of the 4.
Okay.
Completely free choice, all right?
Yep.
It's up to you.
Ah,
Go.
that's fair.
Free choice. All right. Is he done?
Yeah.
You done it?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Look at me. Let me just tell you first, all right? I'm hoping it's number 1 again, specifically because I told you the first time that you've done something that everybody tends to do. It's that feeling like you felt you were obvious. So the second time, of course, you're going to want to catch me out, and the easiest way of doing that is to keep it in the same one a second time. Yeah, excellent. Again?
No, I give up.
No, one more time. We'll do it with 6 cups.
Go on, all right, let's go.
We'll do it with 6 cups. Now, look, feel free when you've done this to move them around. I don't want you thinking that there's anything to do with the way the cups are pointing, all right? So you can change the numbers around, you can do whatever you like.
No problem.
Let me just make that absolutely fair and evenly spaced. Okay?
Yep.
Go. Interesting. You done?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. Let's just think. You did 1 twice in a row, you were trying to catch me out.
Yeah.
Just look at me, just count out loud from 1 to 6. Take your hands out your pockets, just look at me, relax, nice and slowly, clearly from 1 to 6, go.
1,
Yeah,
2,
yeah,
3,
yeah,
4, 5,
yeah,
6.
yeah. Gonna turn over all the ones it's not under, all right?
Alright.
I'll turn over 5.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Maybe that one? Yeah.
Boy,
Thank you so much indeed.
that is quality. That is excellent. I absolutely done everything I could to see if this guy was somehow trying to cheat or if there was anything going on, and there's nothing going on. He's just... That's the first time I've been shocked like that in my life. Just baffled, as I said. I'm absolutely baffled.
I asked them on the tape to say what their average day is, beginning with the words, "My average day is."
My average day is...
It's so interesting how this shows people's self-perception, their self-promotion, how they want to promote themselves, and their self-esteem.
My average day...
Have a shower.
Get ready.
I like to do a bit of stair diving.
Music. I enjoy listening to.
I love gardening.
Feeding Murphy. Feeding myself.
Read and go to sleep.
The other thing on the tape was to dance. I said at the end of the tape, I want you to do a dance, just 10-second dance, but you have to do it. If you don't, you are eliminated. And of course, that's about their bravery, commitment, and of course, for me, it's hilarious to watch. But that is embarrassing for people, so I wouldn't dream of showing any of those clips. So I invited my 100 favourites to London for a day of fun and games.
It's going to be a piece of television history, and to be able to say that I'm a part of that, that's why I applied.
I am fascinated by what he does, and I want to know how he does it.
The boy's a nutter, and I just want to meet him and find out whether it's just daftness or genius or something else driving him.
I'm feeling nervous, and I keep looking at other people, and my belly's going.
You don't know what he's looking for, that's the problem.
I'd prefer to leave quickly rather than get into the last 10. I think if you got down to the last 10 or even 6th person, that would be quite nasty.
It's not a talent show kind of situation where I'm in competition with everybody else. Everyone's just basically here, showing who they are. If we can be of use to Derren, fantastic. If not, then thanks for the day.
Morning. Thank you very much for coming. In a moment, I'm going to get you all to follow me through into another room. There are exactly 100 of you here. And you're going to undergo a series of tests, psychological games, if you like, to whittle you down from 100 to 5. And those 5 people will then come with me to our secret location, which I can tell you now is Barbados. It's not. I just made that up. It's not Barbados. It's not Barbados. The games will be ruthless, and some of you will be out within moments of walking into the other room. I'm aware a lot of you have travelled far, so I want to apologise for that now, because when we're in the room, I won't necessarily be able to be very civil, OK? So, I'm going to come down, and I would like you to follow me through to the other room. When you're in the other room, I want you to take a seat, wherever feels comfortable, and as quickly as you can. Later tonight, I'll play Russian roulette in this barn behind me. So far, you've seen how I whittled 12,000 applicants down to 100, and here's how a further 95 of them were eliminated. Try to come through, find a chair as quickly as you can in the room, please. Pass the message down.
Okay, so the first round is as follows. There are 100 of those. There are only 90 chairs. So the first 10 people that don't find a chair will be eliminated and will be out of the game.
Quick as you can, grab a seat, please. Is that all the seats taken? Yes. Thank you, that was round 1. There are 100 of you, there are only 90 seats. Those of you not quick enough or keen enough to get a seat, I'm afraid, have eliminated yourselves already from the game. Thank you very much for taking part. If you'd like to make your way back through the doors, thank you very much. Right, those of you laughing in the back row, you're also eliminated from the game. The back row personality, unassertive, nervous, not interested in you, I'm afraid. You're going to have to go. I'm terribly sorry. If you'd like to make your way again through the doors. And you can take the front row with you. You're all way too eager to shoot me in the head. If you'd like to make your way back through the doors, thank you for taking part.
Really stupid. It was such an obvious mistake to make.
You expect a few tricks and didn't expect it to be quite this dirty, though.
We were very lazy. We were just ambling along and he's got to get cracking, so it was a fair comment, really.
I'll remember next time how ruthless Derren Brown actually is.
The rest of you, you've got 3 minutes to take your chairs and form 3 rows along the long side of the room, facing into the middle of the room. Do that now, thank you. All relaxed? Yeah? Good. Robert, where have you come from?
North London.
North London, good to see you. Edward?
Ipswich.
Ipswich. Yeah, you're eliminated. If you'd like to... No, I'm joking. Sorry. A golden envelope I'm going to place here on the chair. We're going to play a game, and the game is called Cross the Room. And in the game of Cross the Room, you decide whether or not you want to stay where you're sat or whether you want to cross the room. Then, after a number of you have crossed the room or stayed here, somebody will open the envelope. The envelope contains a message. It either says that everybody that crossed the room is eliminated, or it says that everybody that stayed here was eliminated. It's as simple as that. I'm going to point out some people who must cross. Stand for me, Stuart. Natalie. Elizabeth. David. Francis. Stuart. Daniel, you're going to cross. Edward, you're going to cross. Philip. These people must cross. Have a look at them. Are these people I want to keep, or are these people I want to eliminate? This is the only clue you're going to get. Sit down again for me. By crossing, are you eliminating yourself, or are you keeping yourself in the game? I'm going to give you 5 minutes to make that decision. A maximum of 35 people can cross. That's half of you. Your 5 minutes starts now. Let's play Cross the Room. Seats at the back. I swear to God, if you cross the room and sit on that side, you're through to the next round. Four, 3, 2, 1, 0. That is your 5 minutes up. The chap with the envelope, would you please stand for me? Thank you, Daniel. Open up the envelope. Inside is a folded piece of paper. In your nicest, clearest voice, will you read out what that says inside?
I'm terribly sorry, but all the people who did not cross are eliminated. Everyone on this side has won.
Simple as that. Let me explain. The point of that was I needed people that would respond to the suggestion of crossing over the room, people that would simply obey that command that was there. I'm terribly sorry you didn't do that. I'm going to ask you to leave, but thank you so much. Thank you. Congratulations, all of you. What I'd like you to do is to take your chairs and form 7 rows of 5 in the centre of the room with spaces in between. And then when you've done that, if you can go to the back of the room, grab a sheet of card and a marker pen, then come and sit back down. Thank you very much. If you can do that now for me.
We had a choice whether we could sit across the room or not, and I moved, and then I moved back again, and it turns out that I moved to the wrong side.
It's a wonderful way to lose, actually, because I'd rather not be suggestible than go through.
Right, so you all have a card and a marker pen. What I'd like you to do for me now is to draw a face. All right, now you can interpret that in any way you like, but you need to make sure the face you draw, A, is large and clear, but also that it has some distinguishing features, something about it, idiosyncratic enough that you'll be able to recognize it later on. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. Large and clear. Go. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Please hold it up against like this so I can't see it as I turn around. I'm going to ask you in a moment to pass them up to the front. Keep them face down. I'm going to ask one of you, just caught my eye, chap at the back, hang on to yours, all right? The rest of them, if you can pass them all forward so they end up with the person at the front of your column. The person at the front of the column who ends up with them, just give them a little mix around. And if you can pass them along when you're done, and again, as you get them, feel free to mix them around a little bit more. Thanks, Jamie, that's great. Okie doke, thank you. Nope. Interesting. No. Nope, psychopath. Nymphomaniac. The way that we draw faces says so much about the way we see ourselves and the way we see each other. So, okay, I'm looking at one here now. What this drawing says is noise. Nobody bat-eyed. Let me just show you. The marks here, they're like sound marks. It's the mouth and the shouting. You can see someone who's energetic, yeah, because of the lines, because of all this, and somebody who works with sound, who works with loud music. Mo, is this yours? Is that your drawing? Yeah, it is your drawing. Okay, this one here, this one is all about looking. Again, nobody bat an eyelid, please. Let me just show you. There are two things here. First of all, I said this is the eyes that somebody would draw who works in the visual field. It's also, it looks animated. It looks like a cartoon character. These are also the eyes of a dog lover. Who had the spaniel called Ralphie? That was you, James. Yes, is this your drawing? Yeah, and you do, don't you? You work in graphic...
Yeah, motion.
Motion graphic, exactly, yeah, fantastic. Excellent. So there's a guy at the back. Would you stand up for me? Don't let me see your drawing, just hold it against your chest. All right. The questions I start to ask are, will Daniel be self-obsessed enough to draw a reflection of himself or one of me? You've got a dark sort of look that you obviously like. You're wearing an earring, I can't really see from here, or two. You got, yeah. And there'll be some sort of... I'm tempted to give it a goatee, but I think not. Evil face, dark eyebrows, grin, earring. Will you turn it around? Show us all clearly. Not far off. Thank you, then. All right, all those of you whose pictures are now on there, including you, Dan, just stand for me. Congratulations, you're all through. The rest of you, I'm afraid, I'm going to ask you to go home. Thank you ever so much. Round of applause for them, please.
Maybe my picture was over-elaborate. I think he was looking for sort of clarity.
Well, I was a bit gutted because he put my drawing on the board and then took it down again, so it's a bit, but at that point I didn't know whether that was a good thing or a bad thing.
I thought, you know, really in with a chance now, and it's all going so well, so really disappointed.
Okay, I'm going to come and split you into groups of 3. Let's have you three as a group, that's great. If you can move around here, David, and if you three come out here, I'll put you there with Jamie. James, if you come over here and swap with Sharon. Daniel, if you can come around here with these two, can you come forward for me? I'm just going to write down the names of some of you. Okay. I'm going to give you a few minutes to decide which person from your group will now be eliminated. Put your case to the other two as to why you should stay. Over to you, in your own time. Thank you.
I would like to stay in a bit, James.
I quite like the usual single television, but they're too little, I think, for the show. It gives so much fun.
So are we supposed to be like making a case to stay, or am I supposed to say, well, you should go because you have glasses on?
I'm very grateful for getting this far. I'm quite happy if these you two you want to go for it.
Why don't we just see who we think, and the person that has the most votes is the person?
I'm not really that bothered.
Are you happy with that as well?
That's fine.
James, you're a hero.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you. Can I ask the person, please, who's being eliminated from this group to stand? Your name is?
Daniel Love.
Can I ask the person who's being eliminated from this group to stand?
Warren.
From that group? Your name is?
Jamie.
The person who's being eliminated from this group, please stand. Your name?
James.
And lastly, the person being eliminated from this group, please stand. Daniel. What this is survival of the fittest, but it's also survival of the shrewdest. It's quite easy when you're in groups of 3 for 2 of you to gang together and vote the third person out. Now, in terms of the sort of person that I want sat opposite me across the table when I've got a loaded gun, do I want a shrewd, calculating opportunist? No. I'm after people that are more modest and compliant, and the sort of people that would allow themselves to be eliminated in a game like this. So that is David, Warren, Jamie, Daniel, and James. Which is why, when I put you into your groups, the 5 names of the people I wanted to come with me were Daniel, Warren, Jamie, David, and James. Congratulations, you 5. You are coming with me.
Sick, annoyed, destructive. One of our teammates decided to volunteer himself straight away. It dawned on me straight afterwards exactly what was happening, by which time he got his foot in the door, and that was that.
Make us proud. I'm really excited because Warren went through, so I was really happy about that because it was hard to do that voting thing.
He's written down the names that he wanted and it proved to be right, so I think he knew what sort of people he was looking for anyway.
Congratulations, first of all, obviously. But I just want to have a moment with you before we go any further. I need to know that you are aware of what's in store, that any one of you will have to load a bullet into a revolver, hand the revolver to me, I'll put the gun against my head, and I will be risking my life on my ability to read from you your unconscious signals. If you don't want to be in that position, you can absolutely say so now, and you can walk away, and that's absolutely fine. But I need to know that you're absolutely happy with this before we go any further. Yeah, Yep. Yep. Okay. Well, then it's an absolute pleasure to have you on board, James. Daniel. Cheers, Derren. Jamie. Warren and Daniel. Thank you so much. The 5 seemed confident, but the next stage was to see how they would cope with loading a Model 28 Smith & Wesson revolver. The game of Russian roulette that you're about to watch is being performed in a controlled environment with the full cooperation of firearms experts. And I know, as a viewer of this show, you'll be intelligent enough to be aware that this should only be attempted by me here with this level of preparation and expertise. Can we bring James up now, please? You all right?
Yep.
Okay, this is the room where we're going to play it. Okay. These are fixed remote control cameras around the room. This here is bulletproof glass. You're going to be sat behind this for some of the time. All right?
Okay.
This is the table. Before you sit down, I want you to check under the table there are no hidden cameras. Do that for me now.
Nope, that's good.
All right. Have a seat for me. Thank you. James, can I ask you to verify we have not spoken since you agreed to play the game?
No, we haven't.
And you spent some time with the armourer, who's taken you through everything again, and also explained this to you.
Yeah.
This shield.
Yeah.
Can you explain what this is? This is a shield we've had made. When you load a bullet into a revolver, you can see along the side here and at the front where the bullet lies, in which chamber it is. We've had this shield made, which fits onto the top and stops either the camera or me from accidentally seeing where the bullet is. Are you happy with that, and you're happy that's all the shield does?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to bring the armourer over.
Gentlemen, these are live rounds. Please cover your ears. James, select a round, stand it there.
Thank you. Thank you. Our armourer will now leave, along with our cameraman, for safety reasons. The rest of this will now be filmed using these remote control cameras. Okay, aside from you and me, now this room is empty. Also want you to know we are going out live at the moment. And also, James, I've signed a disclaimer. I've signed a form that absolves you from any legal responsibility for this, all right? Also, morally, you are not responsible for this. It's my decision to do it, and I'm responsible for it, okay?
Okay.
If it fucks up, it's not your fault, all right? Pick up the gun. Take the gun under the table. Can you see the numbers?
Yes.
Okay, move it around a bit, familiarise yourself with the numbers, make sure you can see them clearly. I want you to choose one of those numbers. You keep that number to yourself, but have a look at them now and choose one. This number you choose now, it doesn't matter which one it is. You can change your mind as many times as you like, but you make that decision for me and you settle on a number. Are you thinking of one now?
Yeah.
All right, you need to repeat that number to yourself over and over again, quietly in your head. Fix that number in your mind. Pick up the bullet. You're going to place that bullet into the number chamber you were just thinking of. As you do it, keep your fingers away from the trigger. Do that for me now. Put it in. Check as it goes in. Double check that it's going in the correct chamber, the one that you're thinking of. Is it going in the correct one?
Yes, it is.
All right, lock that number into your mind. Keep your fingers away from the trigger. Keep the gun pointed down at the floor. Feel free to move the cylinder around a bit. You can move it as many times as you like or spin it, whatever you like. Whenever you're ready, close the cylinder, snap it shut, make sure it's closed. Keep saying that number to yourself, James. It's very important you remember it.
Okay.
All right, pick up the shield. In the way the armourer has shown you, and keep your fingers away from the trigger. As you do this, you're going to place the shield now onto the gun. Keep your fingers away from the trigger. It's okay, take your time.
Yeah, it's locked in.
Is it on?
Yeah.
In the way the armourer has shown you, again, without pointing the gun directly at you, I want you to check that you can't see where the bullet is, neither from the side nor from the front. Happy with that?
Yep, can't see it.
Great. Place the gun on the table for me. All right. That's the hard part over for you. All you've got now in your mind is a number between 1 and 6. You need to lock that number in your mind so tightly now, all right? Just take a minute to do that for me now. Otherwise, with the pressure of all of this, it will slip your mind over and over again to yourself, all right? It's a number between 1 and 6. That's all this is now. In a moment, I'll get you to count from 1 to 6. As long as you can do that, you're absolutely fine.
Okay.
Okay, behind me is the bulletproof glass. Behind that's a chair. You're going to go and sit in that chair for your own safety when I tell you to. The chair is bolted to the floor. You must not move out of the chair. You must stay in the chair, all right? Okay. Whatever happens, you don't move, and whatever happens, you do not try and stop me. Don't call out, don't try and stop it, all right? If I'm not 100% confident, I won't do it, I won't pull the trigger.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'd like you to go and sit in the chair. There are ear protectors on the chair, just put them on your lap for now, you won't need them quite yet. You sat in the chair?
Yep.
Can you see me in the gun?
Yes, I can.
James, I'm going to ask you in a moment to count from 1 to 6. I'm only going to ask you to do this once. You need to count clearly and slowly and loudly so I can hear you. From 1 to 6. Listen, very important as you count. Don't give me any clues. Don't try and help me. If you try and help me, James, it will confuse me. And it's really important I'm not confused. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, it does.
All right. When I say go, just take a little while. Just take a moment just to take a breath and relax. And then count from 1 to 6. Loudly, clearly, and slowly. And take a breath first. Go.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to set the gun to a chamber that I feel is safe. That's number 3. Number 3, I feel is safe. Each time that I pull the trigger, the chamber will rotate 1 round. So I'm going to start by firing number 3, which I feel is safe, and then 4, then 5, then 6, and then 1, and then 2. Number 3, I feel is safe. James, will you put your ear defenders on? Number 3, I feel is safe. Number 4, I feel is safe. Number 5. Stand up. Thanks.
Cheers, man.
Okay, Derren, so is that off?
Yeah, 1 second.
Done?
Okay.
Okay. So if you just go into the middle of that parquet floor area, just forward a little bit into the light, a little bit further forward.
Yeah, sorry.
That's it, that's it. Okay, and what's your best side? Okay, let's go. So what's happening today?
Well, you are my oldest friend. You're 93. You're my oldest friend from school, and we've decided that to make a film, a documentary about me. So Nigel's going to be filming me for the next few days at home. I know you want to give people an intriguing insight into a fascinating behind-the-scenes glimpse, so I'm up for that. I don't have to prepare anything or do any work, which is quite nice. So yeah, you're welcome to follow me around and look at anything you like.
Over the last 10 years, Derren has taken tricks and mind reading and all that entails and just dragged it, kicking and screaming, into 21st century.
I love the fact that he's extremely honest about what he does, and yet he still manages to bamboozle you,
Derren Brown in one phrase.
He's like a sprite. He is. He's like a little sprite.
Hello. Thank you very much indeed. Cheers, nice to meet you. I've come to Cheltenham for the literary festival, and embarrassingly, it shows how little I know about the festival. I thought this was going to be like 50 people in a tent. I thought it was like a little marquee, and I just found out it's 2,000 people.
We're living at a time where you've seen one of the all-time greats of magic doing extraordinary television and arguably even better live shows.
He's really rare, because he's sort of everything. He's a great actor, he's a great comic, he's an old-style showman.
Magic, mystery, and the art of illusion. I mean, why are we not? I mean, my God.
Exactly, that's what we have. Two great illusionists of our age.
It goes with the package, and we're meeting Derren Brown. What will he find out about me? What will he know about me? I think people are apprehensive. Absolutely nonsense, because Derren, if you've ever met him, is a pussycat.
You've had a bit of a sort of long-term relationship with taxidermy, haven't you?
I love facsimile and fabrication, things looking real that aren't real. I don't know why that's always excited me. Yeah, I sort of get them from auctions and sometimes antique shops. These parrots have come from the parrot sanctuary that I'm patron of. Look, that's what will happen to you if you keep shitting on my books. Look.
Isn't that a little bit strange?
It is a bit strange, isn't it? This guy was someone's pet who he got stuffed and never picked him up from the shop. Oh, the pickled chimp. This chap was stillborn. This is from the 1920s. It's a beautiful thing. It's sort of peaceful. So, I don't know, is that disturbing? You find that odd?
I find it a bit disturbing.
A little bit.
I think I find that disturbing, and you've got one or two sort of deformed animals, haven't you?
The deformed animals, yes. And that's the eight-legged lamb. Nothing wrong with that.
It's BBC Radio 2 in concert Thursday night, and tonight it is all about this man. Everything Derren does is a trick. I just want to shake him, because I'm just like, how do you do this, and why can I not work it out? I had to do this trick with buttons, and I had to put them onto a tray, and then I had to hit Derren. Hello?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And I playfully slapped him around the cheek, and he went, no, you've got to do it harder. So I hit him again. And his cheek by then is getting quite mottled and quite red.
One more to go, hard.
Probably a lot of people would fantasise about what I did to Derren, like smacking him really hard in the face, and it felt surprisingly good.
49.
And then he told me how many buttons there were. Yeah. He got it completely right. 49, bingo.
I think what Derren will do is just go to the ends of the earth to make people amazed.
In the trick with Simon Pegg, I dropped all kind of subtle hints into his mind and about his ideal birthday present. They may have said, I want X, whatever that is, you know, like a really nice car, like a BM or an Xbox or something like that, something they really wanted. And when I asked him, he said a BMX bike. But he'd actually written down a very different choice 2 weeks earlier. It was a leather jacket.
What he'd pulled on me actually tugged the rug from beneath me. You see it on the show, I kind of go, huh? I go all white. I think he's got me.
The playfulness has always been an important part of Derren's fun and charm, because that enables him to play with somebody's mind, but in a way that doesn't make them feel too uncomfortable, but clearly makes them feel like they're being manipulated.
Some of the stuff is quite light-hearted and upbeat. Some of it is quite sinister, quite dark, sometimes to the point that people get upset about it. In the middle of the night.
One of the things that many people remember for Derren's work is the darker stuff, the weirder stuff, the little horror movie type references that we like to incorporate.
Let me see what you see.
Blair Witch Routine was a really interesting routine, I think, because it was one of the first things that really established Derren as being on a different path from traditional magic.
Keep looking at me. Just close your eyes.
There's some pretty fucking dark material there, but that's exciting.
The little girl, the little girl there? The Zombie Arcade was one of the darker ones. We had hypnotised this guy, Fabian, through an arcade game in a pub that we'd set up. And woke him up in exactly the same set, where he's now about to play this real-life zombie game, continuing from where he left off in the pub. It was lots of adrenaline. It was fun and scary.
There have been occasions when contributors in the show have been a bit upset or a bit disturbed, you know, during the routine. You know, that guy's freaking out.
People respond to hypnosis very differently. Some people will say, oh, I was just playing along and knew exactly what I was doing. And others will have no memory of the whole thing. They'll be convinced it had nothing to do with them. It's fascinating that they will do that.
Oh, come on, it's wicked.
But they're always very well taken care of, and they always have this real sense of exhilaration at the end of it.
Good.
It continues to be fascinating, even though I've done it for so long.
Do you think it'd be fair to say that a lot of your acts sort of rather mess with people's minds?
Yeah, I hope so. I think this stuff's most interesting when for me, if it touches on sort of people's sort of beliefs or slightly kind of uncomfortable areas.
So where do you think your fascination for the minds, where does that come from?
It's not so much that I've always had a fascination with the human psyche. I think it's more that it just grew out of being an insecure student and kind of wanting to feel in control and to be liked, and you know, all the people that I could hypnotise well tended to be the sorts of sporty, rugged types that beforehand sort of intimidated me. So it was really quite interesting to suddenly be able to kind of control those people. You know, that was the sort of level I think it was working on at the start. It was probably the experiments with hypnosis that started everything for me, which is back in Bristol, really. It was a very formative part of my life. So I came to Bristol to go to university, and it was in my first year there that I saw a poster advertising a hypnosis show, which I went to, and that was it. That's what started it all off. This is the quadrangle. Keep off the grass. Good. At least I did that. Hello, is it Ross?
It is.
Hello, Derren. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you. I guess you heard we might be coming in. Can I come in?
Yeah, of course.
Can we come in and have a...
Of course. Have a grand.
Oh my God.
Is it strange coming back?
Yeah. It's all coming back.
This room was particularly important, wasn't it?
Well, this is where I started hypnotising people and kind of my career started. They used to sit in that chair and people would come in like once a week.
But when it very, very first began to work,
yeah,
what was that like?
Well, it was a very slow process. So at the beginning, if I talked someone 20 minutes into a sort of a trance induction and maybe suggest maybe that the hand was a bit too heavy to lift or something very tentative and would be very exciting when they said, yes, my hand couldn't lift, or maybe that it would float up in the air and there might be a little bit of that. And just, you sort of get braver and braver. And then after a while, it just became something that just sort of had a feel for, I think. By the time I'd graduated, I started doing close-up magic, sleight of hand magic. I was only occasionally doing the hypnosis, and I was earning my living as a magician. So I've, over recent years, become friendly with Stephen Merchant, and found out that while I was learning those skills while I was in Bristol, they were also formative years for him. He was becoming a stand-up comedian. Oh, it hasn't changed. That's a relief.
Is it exactly the same?
Pretty much, yes. I'd come every Thursday and do a couple of hours, 3 hours maybe, around the tables.
Did the restaurant owners know? Or did you just come in?
No, it was officially
You're like a sort of SAS magician.
I did about 10 years here, and I was still doing here. When
for 10 years you were performing in here every Thursday?
Roughly, yeah, about that. And I was building up my skills, and then people would hire me to come and do their parties and their corporate events and things like that. So that's how I earned my living for 2 years. We should sit down, shouldn't we?
So just give me an example. If I was sat here, I'm with a beautiful woman, obviously. That's a given. And we're just having a romantic time. I'm just whispering some sweet
I have to
nothings.
interrupt?
Yeah, what do you say?
Oh, God. Well, I'd be wandering around with this deck of
I'd see you lurking.
Yeah, I have a deck of cards, and there's this, you sort of...
That's really creepy.
Yeah. I'm Derren. I'm a kind of magician. I'm here for the...
You're a kind of magician?
Yes. So they go a kind of magician, and it would suggest a sort of something exciting. And then I would sit down and I'd ask your name.
So it's in a way, it's like hitting on someone in a bar.
Yes.
Relentlessly for a whole evening every Thursday, which is pretty much my life anyway.
Which is, I was going to say.
Yeah, but wow, that's...
When I first met Derren, he was earning his living primarily as a close-up magician doing sort of amazing things with people in restaurants. And so when David Blaine became a huge hit on Channel 4, we thought there's room for a mind-reading guy who does that, but with a mind-reading slant. And so I called Derren up. I'm Andrew O'Connor, I'm Illusionist Productions, I'd like to make a TV show with you, maybe let's meet and talk. And he was not at all excited or interested. Well, all right, yeah, OK, maybe I'm in London next week, let's meet up.
I'm going to ask you to think of one of 5 cards. One of these. Ready? 1.
The very first trick he showed me
2.
face to face, it's one of my favourite things that personifies what he does brilliantly. And he did that trick for Stephen Fry many years later on television.
Marvellous, thank you so much.
He spread a pack of cards on the table, face up, and said, just look at one of those cards and think of it.
And in your mind, not out loud, obviously, just repeat that card to yourself over and over again. Just over and over again, like King of Diamonds, King of Diamonds, King of Diamonds.
Shut up!
Was that it?
Fuck off!
And I felt like the ground had opened up and swallowed me.
There's a rather extreme reaction with that, is it?
And I had no idea how he did it.
It's a little more difficult than I thought. Do you know why?
What is it?
Well, there is no King of Diamonds in there.
No, there was.
And he spread the deck again, and the card had vanished.
King of Hearts.
Oh!
Excuse me. Your card there, the King of Diamonds. Thank you, Stephen.
I just want to burn him at a stake. and watch his witch's heart bubble. It's extraordinary. Great trick.
The shift from being a close-up magician in Bristol doing hypnosis shows to being a television magician is a massive shift, but Derren took to it like a duck to water. Initially, we made a series of 3 specials and a television series called Mind Control.
Sorry, what was the stop you were getting off at? Look at me, what was the stop you were getting off at?
The idea was that, you know, it's magic psychology, it's suggestion, it had a broader range. Does hypnosis exist? Does suggestion exist? And so it was more appealing because it's not just, oh, it's a trick, that's the end of the discussion. It's what is that guy doing?
No, just trying to find it at the moment.
Look, you got it. What is it?
Warren Street.
Warren Street, very good.
I suppose Uri Geller was the start for me. No one had really captured the imagination of the power of the mind or psychology since Geller. So it was trying to make magic relevant and intelligent.
So number 6 has not won?
No, it hasn't won.
So you shouldn't get anything on this at all?
No, it's worthless.
I think from day one, they were what we'd call in TV water cooler moments that people would be talking about the following day. One of the classic things that people remember from the early days was being able to win money on losing bets.
This is the dog you're looking for. That's why we came to this window.
There was no through line as we moved on to with some of the later specials. It was Derren himself that wanted to move on, and he's managed to find items that have sustained an hour and a half on TV that have all led up to a tremendous finale.
The premise behind Russian Roulette's really simple. For Derren, it's a 1 in 6 chance. It's a bullet, it's a gun, it's live television.
Are you happy with that? And
Russian Roulette is the show that made Derren into a big UK star because everybody in the country was talking about it.
Thank you. I'm going to bring the arm right over. This is the revolver from Russian Roulette. The shield there that was put on the gun to make sure I couldn't see into the chambers. And it's all mounted on the sandbag with the bullet holes. It was a very terrifying day. There are 2 things you don't see on the programme when you watch it. One, that my leg is just doing this under the table constantly. And of course also there's, you know, the ambulances and everything.
Select a round. Stand it there.
I was the guy who had to put the bullet in the chamber of the gun and then pass it over to Derren to play Russian Roulette with. You're in a barn, it's dark, there's a guy with a loaded gun to his head. It's hard to detach yourself. It felt pretty nerve-wracking.
How did your mum feel about it?
I did ring her up and say, look, it'll be fine. I know what I'm doing. Please, you know, don't. Well, of course, no, of course. Don't be silly, dear. That was the response.
The Russian Roulette absolutely terrified me.
Number 3, I feel is safe.
I was almost sitting, you know, behind the couch. I had cooked a meal for Bob and I and sat down to eat it, and there is no way. He ate his dinner, but I couldn't eat a thing. It was such a dangerous thing to do.
Number 5.
It didn't seem like it was going right, and there'd never been such a palpable, most brilliant 45 seconds of television as when he was deciding what to do.
He hesitated for a long time, and I thought, he's not going to do this. He's not going to do it. He rang me about 10 minutes later and said, what did you think? And I said, don't ever do anything so dangerous again.
Was there controversy in kind of this is sort of Channel 4 sinking to a new low?
There was controversy. The idea was that the stunt was even happening, which was great because that was sort of what we were hoping for. And then there was the disappointment that I hadn't actually blown my brains out. There was like, what have we just been watching kind of reaction, which I've sort of had since as well on other things. Yeah. It's an odd one, but.
And that meant that you could do some really top drawer restaurants.
Yeah, some of the nicer restaurants in London.
I remember sitting down and thinking, oh my goodness, we've done an amazing 60 minutes of television. How could we possibly follow that?
We welcome Jane into the room, just allowing that presence to be here.
I had no idea that their reactions were going to be as extreme.
The 13 of us welcome you here.
The Seance show was my second special after the Russian Roulette. It was famously the most complained about show in TV history, I think.
Jane, move the ball to let us know that you are here.
Okay, all right. Okay.
The idea was that we'd get 12 students in what purported to be a derelict scene of a terrible group suicide. The point of it was to see whether fraudulent Victorian techniques would work on a modern audience, and quite satisfyingly, as it turned out, they did.
And it explains a lot of these things that went on. So earlier in the Seance programme, I'd used this thing called the Spirit Cabinet, which is one of my favourite mediumistic props. It's just feels to me like great theatre, and so many kind of bizarre things happen. Do you want to go?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. How'd you go? And it was through performing that I got to know Ian Sharkey.
This is my first year of university, and I got asked to be on the Seance, which was like a really clever ghost train. It really felt that at the time.
Hang on.
What you see, I mean, that was genuine. That's a genuine emotional response from me, and was genuine fear.
You've broken it. What happened?
I don't know. I just needed to get out. I don't feel right. That's really weird.
Talk me through it.
I remember really feeling, I have to know how he does that. I've just got to know.
Ian was studying creative writing, so I said to him, do you want to come and write on the show?
Yeah. And that was it. We became great friends, and now he's my creative other half.
Wow.
So sit facing that way.
Is it this way?
Yeah. Yeah, got the old Ouija board out today. We are going to run through some really early ideas.
But hold the pointer around the other way so it taps. I think the tapping will be.
Sometimes we just like to kind of try these half ideas on their feet and see what they kind of look like. So that's our fun job for today. Is this creepy with a real automaton? Well, when Will Everton win the cup? I don't even know what that means.
I think the one thing that really hits you about Derren is his sense of humour. You know, it's when you're working with him, there are days when we're crying with laughter, and then from that, these weird ideas will come. But it's like that every single day, you know.
Put the mask on and slip your top off. We'll carry on. When it comes to actually writing the TV shows, there'll be a 2-week slot.
We've got to come up with ideas. We need 2 ideas for specials. Okay, so at that point, that's the only chance you get to think.
The writing process with Derren is really interesting. You have to start with the end, so you've got to start with the final stunt and then work backwards to a logical beginning.
The heist is probably a good example of this sort of writing process that you work backwards.
So if you missed the start of the show, this is Gresham Street in the City of London. The Bank of England is just down there. We have a fake security van, a fake security guard, and £100,000 of real money.
The heist had come out of an idea whereby I might use my skills to rob a bank. And it just felt like, wouldn't it be more interesting to have somebody else do it?
The whole point of heist is how do you get good people to do terrible things, like an armed robbery.
Target is inside. Target is in zone 1.
Everything from day one right to the final stunt has to be massively stage managed. You know, every tiny nuance has to be thought out.
And your car.
So the car goes past with the music blaring, and there's the colour green and the "Do It" slogan on the poster, and all the triggers create what could be a potentially criminal urge. It was really, really exciting.
Excuse me, mate. Put down. Tell you what, mate, you try anything and you're dead, alright? If you've got family, fucking put it in this. Mate, if you move, I swear to God, you're dead, mate.
So it's a very interesting and quite difficult writing process to create a drama for somebody who maybe doesn't even know that they're part of it.
All right, here, come with me.
Well, I've always painted portraits really since I was very small. I kind of started really with caricatures, and over the last couple of years I've sort of moved into a more serious sort of approach. And I love it. It's sort of my big hobby. Especially when the job you do is essentially quite a public thing, it's quite nice to have something that balances that at home. You know, it's a treat. It's really nice sometimes to be able to use the paintings in the magic. And there was the trick with Simon Callow and his portrait. That was fun.
Anything you want.
Everybody, from Judi Dench downwards, just said, you must do this. This is just the most exciting thing that will ever have happened to you in your life.
So it's a word that I'm thinking of, which I'm going to try and send to you. It is 4 letters long.
He asked me to think of a letter, and I thought of R. And then he asked me to think of a word, and I thought of road.
Road. R-O-A-D.
Yes. And he said, come over here, please. And he told me to look at the eyes, and I looked into the eyes, and there, in the whites of one of the eyes, was written the word.
That's extraordinary.
Road.
That's amazing.
So these are more recent ones. It's Rufus Wainwright. You a fan, or do you know him?
Yeah, I know him. I'm not a fan, but I know who he is. I like her voice when she used to sing A Fine Romance on the
Did she
sitcom.
sing it?
Yeah.
Might as well play bridge without maiden on.
It's amazing, that. I love the way that the focus is sharper in some parts of the picture than others. Almost like a photograph, yeah.
You just tilt slightly towards me, just ever so slightly, a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. I met Uri Geller once.
Did
well,
you?
twice, actually.
He can't not bend spoons for people. He seems.
No, he bent the spoon, and I've got a bent spoon that's signed. What I like about him is he says, I would do it, but it makes me very tired. It really makes me very tired because I use a lot of mental energy.
Which I'm sure it does. How long ago was it that you were on the show? It was
5 years ago, maybe. I asked you immediately afterwards how the trick was done, and you looked me right in the eye, and you said, for the sake of our friendship, you must never, ever ask me that question again. You've done it all mystical and Jedi-like.
I think I was being overly dramatic.
You were, but it worked.
Now we'll choose 3 cards. Any 3 you want to use, you're going to get 3 goes. Matt was one of the first celebrities to come on the show. It's a close-up trick that has this sort of psychological approach.
Those 3, Derren Brown.
So he picked 3 cards at random, and then I got him to guess what he thought they would be. What's the last card? You said 6 of clubs, 4 of clubs. What's the last one?
Jack of diamonds.
And with the exception of 1, he got them right. Go on, you can turn it over. Oh! So then I give him an envelope, and inside the envelope is my prediction of the 3 cards that he would say. And of course, being very clever, I get them all right. Now look, Jack of diamonds, 4 of clubs, and the 6 of clubs.
How do I think Derren did his trick on me? Well, I've thought about this for quite a while, and what I think he did was he went back in time in a time-travelling machine. So it was like a time travel thing, I'm pretty sure.
Getting ready.
I really do enjoy the TV and I'm very grateful for it. Though for me, the principal thing, my first love, is the theatre.
Jenny's the only person who's allowed to do this in the world. Obviously, we don't normally make that noise.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I get to muck around with my best friends for months on end, and it's fun. You know, it's a fun process. The show is fun, so that is what I enjoy the best.
They're shouting. So check your flies, please.
Flies are done up. Thank you. Ian's last job is to check that my flies are done up.
For me, the sort of quintessential Derren is his stage show. It's only then you get the sense of A, how funny he is, B, how sharp he is, how fast on his feet he is, and also his command of an audience is remarkable.
Theatre stuff's loads of fun because you're getting a kind of reaction from an audience every single night. You've got the applause, you've got people on stage reacting, which is really great.
Take the microphone, call it, come to me!
Come to me!
Come to me, come to me, keep calling, even without the mic.
Obviously with the stage, there's more showmanship involved.
Right, back over here, take the mic.
I'm entertaining people for 2.5 hours, so has to be laughs and frights and all the rest of it. And there has to be the kind of ta-da sense of reveal, you know, which is very different from the TV.
Sorry, I'd have loved you to win it. Most people do change their mind at the end. I was really hoping you would. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Just very briefly, if I can find my pen, just keep your eyes focused on the easel for a second, please. Oh no, you've seen him. That's my fault. Sorry, don't take your head off. You've got 20 minutes. Now, by doing this, by blindfolding myself, it becomes easier for me somehow to see the things that you're seeing in your head, even to think the things that you are thinking. And if you want...
The Oracle Act came from a real heyday of mind readers and mentalists in the 20s and 30s, and that sort of act has all sorts of different forms. And this gets used by psychics, gets used in spiritualist churches.
Great, okay, say stop when I...
For me, it's the purest form of mind reading, and it was a huge joy to sort of find my own approach to it.
It's about where this is, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it'll be in France.
Yes.
You spent time in France.
I remember being sitting in the audience and just hearing gasps of astonishment throughout the whole evening.
Blakey, yes?
Yes, that's just weird,
Can I
yeah.
also, please, you need to whether or not, you're also thinking in your mind whether or not you're going to have any kids is going through your mind, yes?
Oh, crap,
yes?
yeah.
They just, you can see them, their brains are whirring and the cogs are kind of grinding together to try and solve this problem that he's presented them.
You need to look at this. You've been thinking about it, but it's... Well, Andy Nyman has directed the stage shows and been my principal collaborator for pretty much all of these 10 years. Obviously, we're very dear friends. I'm quite cerebral and he's quite kind of emotional and passionate, and which was always a really interesting team. But at the start, he really kind of, I think, modelled me and turned me into something that was going to be good on TV and watchable. I owe him really everything.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Ghost Stories Company, this is your beginner's call. Your call, please, Mr. Nyman.
Derren's greatest strength is his ability to try things that have never been tried before and have no fear of failure. That's extraordinary, you know. There are so many moments I'm proud of, really, within all of the work. Russian Roulette, live, was incredible, you know, to be there and to have that fear. Those live moments, Lottery, live, God almighty, so frightening. It is fearless.
Obviously, if you're doing anything live, it's risky, because anything could happen, anything could go wrong.
What it means is then the possibility of failure is much greater. But it's that thing of the safer you play, the duller it is.
We're broadcasting from a studio, and for security reasons, and so that nobody else benefits from what I'm doing here, it's just me and two cameramen in here. So
what Derren was risking was his entire reputation, professionally and publicly, and so that was a very scary 10 minutes.
This is my prediction. This prediction was made earlier on today. The numbers are there in numerical order.
And we're going to come to this in a minute too.
Someone's written a piece in the papers talking about how it was definitely faked, and you can tell from Derren's fear. We've paused these moments here, and you can see Derren's micro expressions. And well, I am here to I am here to tell you that fear was tangible.
Those are the lottery numbers for this week: 2, 11, 23, 28, 35 and 39.
It felt like a tremendous success. It was the most viewed clip on YouTube in the world. You know, it made world headlines. The papers were full of, oh, it was half balls, it was a mirror tube, it was split screen, it was, you know, and then you had all different versions on YouTube of people doing their solutions for it.
It was really exciting to do and a bit nerve-wracking. But the Friday night show, which then purported to reveal how I did it, that really makes me cringe.
6 random numbers came up live in the lottery, yet I knew what they would be beforehand, but not on my own. I had 24 very excited people hoping to predict them for me.
The idea was you'd have this sort of slightly fishy explanation all the way through, that it was a wisdom of crowds explanation. And it was supposed to be a little bit kind of, really? Would that work? But then at the end, there was a big twist that actually I'd fixed it. But with the huge amount of scrutiny that eventually came with the show, we realised we couldn't do it. So I ended up, I think, just feeling a bit disingenuous, that I was expecting people to believe that's really how I did it. And I'm always careful not to sort of insult people, or not to just kind of lie like that. So it's the only thing I've done that I'm just not happy with at all.
So if I'm ever asked how I predicted the lottery, I'm going to say it was just a trick. Good night. You guys better go in first, I suppose. Do you remember this?
What, your loo?
My loo, yeah, not do you remember my loo. We all remember my loo. Look, I put it in a loo.
Oh, what a lovely treat for you.
It is nice, isn't it? While you're having a poo.
That was made for Little Britain USA.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, if that doesn't help you do a shit, if that doesn't inspire you to poo, I don't know what will.
Well,
I really don't know what will.
Or more.
Good luck. Or more.
Perhaps a number 3. Not saying it hasn't happened.
At number 3. Let's not talk about
let's
that.
Not, no, let's leave.
Let's quit while we're
leave
behind.
the documentary crew in the toilet.
Yes.
We're here in this lovely, quiet, leafy suburban area to visit my parents. They've just moved, and I've only seen the new place a couple of times, so yeah, going to drop in on them.
Hello. Hi, Ted. How are you? Hello, darling. Lovely to see you.
Hello, lovely to see you. They've always been hugely supportive. Their philosophy seems to have always been just to let me do whatever I like. Most of the other law students had a huge amount of parental pressure on them. I had no pressure at all.
Well, he was a guide dog before.
He was a rubbish guide dog. He was a reject guide dog.
he wasn't a rubbish guide dog.
All these blind people ended up in lakes.
No, they didn't. It was horrible.
Well, it's 10 years, isn't it?
It is. I can't believe it's 10 years.
Does it seem like when I first started? And so I remember coming home from Bristol one day and saying, "I'm not going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a magician."
Yes.
And you remember that? Oh, yes. Stuck in your mind.
It's really surreal because the first time he was on TV, we were really excited, and then I watched it and I just couldn't believe it was him. You know, this was you as a baby.
Is what I looked like when I was little.
Had lots of blonde hair. He was really an only child until he was almost 10, before his brother was born. He was, I think, a little bit lonely, because everything he did is the sort of thing you do on your own, you know, reading, writing, painting. You don't do it with other people. And so when his brother was born, that put a different dimension on things.
I remember you said, oh, we're going to go to a fun fair and go on the roller coaster.
Yeah.
But before we do that, you need to get into this suitcase at the top of the stairs. And I thought, okay, that's fine, I can do that. So I got in it, and you shut it, and then just kicked it down the stairs. And then I didn't really want to go after that, and we never went. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I remember that.
In secondary school, if you weren't really part of the kind of sporty crowd, then, you know, I just got the piss taken out of me. And I think that's when I started to kind of develop an interest that led to performing. I sort of have mixed feelings about the place. I wasn't really... It was a lovely school, I don't know if I was really happy here. Not desperately unhappy either, but it's a just a mix of different feelings. I was never really bullied per se, but I was definitely a bit kind of picked on by kind of some of those rougher kids. Thank God it's the rougher kids that go on to have the really boring jobs and adult lives, while it's the kids that get picked on that grow up to do the interesting things. My father was the swimming instructor at the school. He was the swimming guy. He was Bob Brown with his cigar and his little Speedos. His beer belly hanging out over the top of them. That's kind of the image I have of him here for many years.
I think the door's open.
Is it? Wow. This is what was the swimming pool. They've allowed me to come and have a peek because it means so much to me, this place. This was my dad's empire, really. Oh, the sound, the acoustic is great. It still sounds like a swimming pool, doesn't it? Imagine doing exams in here. Hello! Makes me feel a bit sad. Look, it's still no running and jumping. Oh my God, you can get to the bottom of the pool. I'm so going to get detention for this. Oh, it's really strange. There's the steps, which I remember climbing down and just trying to hold my breath for as long as I could underwater and that kind of thing. I'm sure they have a beautiful new pool that is just stunning and modern compared to this one, but it does, just for me, because this is so personal to me, this does feel really sad. Something about seeing everything stripped away makes me see how far I've come. I was closer to my mum, I think, when I was younger, but as I've grown up, I've got closer to my dad. Standing in his office just made me very aware of how fond I am of him, of how much I love him. Just nostalgia, that sort of melancholy is bittersweet. Which I suppose is what melancholy is, isn't it? What I am very proud of was here at 30,000 feet, which was the last show that I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Due to a medical emergency, I'm sorry to report that the captain is currently incapacitated. It has become necessary to ask if there is a passenger on board who will be willing to help land this plane.
The idea of having somebody in an aeroplane and there's hidden cameras everywhere, and there's, you know, somebody has to land the plane because everyone's ill.
Who's going to help?
What I've done over the sort of 10 years or so is moved away from being kind of the clever guy going, hey, look at me, I can do this, I can read your mind, to sort of facilitating a process for somebody else. That interests me much more. It takes me out of the centre stage and it becomes more sort of human then, you know.
How can somebody help when they don't know how to find it? We put Matt Galley through quite a challenging experience to push him from quite a shy and withdrawn personality into a much more heroic and positive person.
When I wake him up, he will believe he's entering the cockpit, faced with the challenge of landing the plane and saving the lives of over 100 passengers.
Oh my God.
It's just so completely outrageous. My kids were just screaming at the television, just like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Glide slow. Now slow. 10. Yeah, keep it nice and straight there, Matt. That's a really good job, mate.
I've not felt that emotional about anything for many, many years. I welled up, I choked. So it was through pride.
I'm so looking forward to seeing him. We've kept in touch since the show, and I've seen him a couple of times, but this is the first time back in Leeds since we made the show.
We'd noticed over that month that we'd been following him and filming him that there'd been a real change, because he was really kind of stepping up and engaging with life.
Oh, hello. In a way, it's like getting your son back. He's now like he was 10 years ago.
Oh, this is all quite fancy, isn't it?
Do you like it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's very good to know that Matt's life is genuinely changing.
So,
shoes, sorry, take shoes off.
It's okay.
He's made the big step of moving out from the family home and actually getting his own place. It's a big move for him, and I'm really proud of him. How's it all sort of been? Do you feel different, or is it just...
Feeling different is it's an understatement. You know, I still remember every single lesson that was taught to me in the show, and, you know, people that know me know that, you know, I would have never done anything like this before, because I never had the confidence to do it.
You did it, Matt. Listen to me. You are a hero, Matt.
When I walked into the room and everybody was stood there, even now getting tingles down my back remembering it, because it was nothing short of magical. It was just amazing. My girlfriend Liv was in floods of tears. I've never seen her like that before.
The whole point of the show was just putting some of those things in place for him to become a bit more of the person that he just is and should be, and had sort of forgotten about.
Endlessly provocative. I think that's probably what he would like it to be, and I think that's exactly what it is.
What Derren's brought back to magic is good old-fashioned, old-time theatricality. And by doing that, he's just re-energized it, made it more kind of, just made it cool again.
If I had to sum Derren up in 3 words, I'd say man with beard. Well, it's 3 words, isn't it?
And I'd tell you what I'm...
He'd said 4 words. I would have said man with little beard, but we only had 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have your eyes open? Were you watching?
Yeah, at that point I did, yeah.
Yeah. You're extraordinary, thank you.